Guys, Dark Endless Pit here, back with a new video. Today I just want to make a video on my experience going to the concentration camp of Auschwitz. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but um, this is like a you know time in history where it presented like one of the biggest human failures of all time. Basically, the fact that we were basically wasting torture, pain, and suffering to a group of people, and it showed human bigotry, it showed hatred, it showed all kinds of things, lack of empathy, lack of any care, capacity to understand, and so on. But, it is, I don't know what's more depressing, being in an environment where the history is really brutal and there was a ton of pain and suffering, or the fact that even modern day, in modern day age, in civilization, where you can now see historic places like this and you see all kinds of disrespect, a lot of lack of care, lack of respect, to these historic places. There was a lot of depressing things I saw when I first entered this historic place. So people's dress code. I'll start off with just people's dress code to a concentration camp. I understand that these people are dead and they no longer exist. People are not being tortured anymore, but these were places where people were being tortured and punished and severely in excruciating pain, um, you know, you have people dressing like they're going to beach. You have people dressing like, attention whores, having their ass sticking out, wearing yoga pants where you can see their thongs. You have people, even men. You have some men dressing like inappropriate jackets that say "fuck you," basically showing very little respect to what happened here. Um, and it amazes me how people still think that there's any hope to humanity when people are still not respecting to what the fuck happened in the past. You know, just because it was the past doesn't mean you show no respect. You're supposed to show some respect to the fact that people suffered. This isn't a fucking playground. This isn't a beach. This isn't like some zoo or whatever, like a tourist attraction. This is where you're supposed to pay your respects to the people that lost their lives. And it's incredible to see even modern human beings go to these places and show zero respect to what happened. When I went down to the basements where they basically had prisoners, they shoved prisoners in these little rooms and stuff like that, and basically were forced to stay there for weeks and weeks on end because as a punishment for them trying to kill themselves. They were punished for doing that. So the punishment was one, they were either like stuck in a room with just one window, no light whatsoever. It was completely dark, and all they had was just a door in front of them where the guards would basically keep an eye on them all the time. So they had no privacy, no bed, nothing. It was just one room, and they were just forced to stay there basically like a fucking animal. Um, and again, you would see the wooden doors with like claw marks or like human claw, like as though they were clawing the fucking wood out because that's how fucking tormented they were, basically. Some even wrote their names in their fucking fingernails. You know what I mean? That's how bad it was. But uh, the fucking disgusting part is that I saw this one young woman basically walking into these places where people were tormented and tortured, and she was just eating a banana like, oh, this is all trivial. This is just whatever. It's all in the past. Who cares? Let me eat a banana. Let me eat food where people were tortured in. I mean, that shows you no respect whatsoever to what happened here. Um, Definitely an eye-opening experience to see that in modern day civilization where, people trivialize suffering like it's nothing. Um, that was a big eye opener right there. And that was even the worst of it, right? The disgusting clothing that people were wearing when they went to these places. And mind you, these people had to pay the tickets, and they had to in advance follow the rules and regulations before coming into a place like this. They know that this shit is not a happy place. This is a very depressing place to be in. They signed up for it, right? They paid money for it, and yet they should like come into these places with no respect whatsoever. I see a lot. I saw a lot of women, and again, it just goes to show you, like, women have no empathy. They don't give a fuck. They only care about themselves. They're very self-absorbed. A lot of women I saw were fucking having their ass cheeks exposed, even though they have, shirts that can easily cover it, right? But instead of using their fucking brains and stop being self-absorbed for one fucking day, instead they had to be, have their ass showing in a concentration camp. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Seriously. I mean, goddamn, you have no fucking respect for anything. Like, not even for one day. Like, you have to be showing your ass everywhere. You're that self-absorbed. Unbelievable. And that's not even the worst of it. As I was going to, the bunkers, the barracks that people were basically forced to sleep in, 3 rows, right? And, this tour guide was telling me stories of what they had to deal with. The fact is that they were so squeezed in, like, side by side when they were sleeping, and because there was no bathrooms, they'd be defecating, they'd be pissing, so the people on top would be pissing the people on below, and so on. It can get really bad, and obviously people got sick, people died from all the disease and illnesses that happened there. But as I went to these places, again, and it's just a historic place, right? But it actually has real significance. People really did endure a lot of horrible things there. And I saw trash, candy bar wrappers, people like just throw trash like it's nothing, and it's just like, it goes to show you that humanity will never change. Humanity will never grow the fuck up. They will not accept reality for what it is. It's a fucking meat grinder, death isn't a fun time. It's not a pleasure at all. It's the complete opposite. And when you're and again, there's another thing that's also very disgusting. I saw a lot of people bringing their fucking babies in these places like it's a fucking joke or something. Like, you do know that people that force their kids into this existence are going to be suffering. They're going to be tortured at the end if they don't get lucky in a quick death like this. If they're not lucky, they're going to be tortured here. That's the reality things. You didn't fucking realize that, and so you're going to these concentration camps with your fucking baby and your kids like it's all a fucking joke. You should just tell them straight up, hey, I sentenced you to death. I'm mommy and daddy. I sentenced you to death. Hee. You should just tell them that if you're going to send them to these fucking places. So retarded, man. People are so, like, brain dead. Absolutely brain dead. They don't even know where the fuck they are. It's unbelievable. And so, again, and another thing I saw that was really disgusting was graffiti, on these beds that people had to sleep in, People wrote their names, and they wrote the fucking year that they wrote this graffiti. It just shows no respect, not one bit. They don't care about what happened in the past. I understand it's not happening now, but damn, dude, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You think you're that important that, you have to fucking graffiti places like this? I mean, goddamn, that's horrible. And all I can say is I hope that these people get what they deserve. I hope that nature gives them a slow, painful death, because that's what they deserve. They don't respect any of this real reality that's happened. And even today, even currently, people are still suffering, And if they think it's all a joke, then yeah, they deserve the worst that nature can give them, I hope nature can give them an 8th-month slow dying process. I hope nature can give them the worst possible. Choke on their vomit, for a very long time. That's all I can say, because like that's what they deserve. If they can't show any respect to places like this, it's like, yeah, you deserve no empathy, absolutely none. And it's unbelievable that even in 2025, people again trivialize this whole shit. It's disgusting. It really is. And so how bad does it have to get? How bad does it have to get for people to fucking wake up and realize that life is fucking messy and dirty and nasty? And I understand that, again, if you know anything about history, again, of course, the Nazis were the ones that were that caused the pain and stuff like that to these Jews, right, and cripples and gays and all that stuff, and gypsies and all that stuff. But the fact is, the brain is the thing that's producing these horrible sensations to these victims, right? And these Nazis knew that. They were just using what nature has already implemented in the fucking brain, and that's why they were literally torturing these human beings for nothing, literally, completely nothing. And so when you bring a kid to this world, you are literally sending them to death and the possibility of being tortured. I mean, for nothing, literally. And so you're gonna, and I saw on social media that people were, this one pregnant woman was in the Auschwitz concentration camp, posing and showing herself with her pregnant child, and I'm like, dude, what's wrong with your fucking brain? You don't know where you are? You think it's all a joke? Ha ha! I posed life even though people suffered in this existence. Ha ha! It's like, what? It's all a joke to you? You don't know where you are? Unbelievable. I can't believe it, and in 2025, with technology and people becoming more civilized, more intelligent, people should be um, more of a human being, right? People should be more empathetic than ever, and yet this is what I saw, on my trip to the concentration camp, and it's horrible. And that's not even the worst part of it. Again, people, even my tour guide told me that even after the tour guide hours, people will come to these places and they'll like jump on the barbed wire. They'll take pieces of the barbed wire as a souvenir and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, there's no saving of humanity. If this is the best that they can do, is be a bunch of fucking ignorant animals and retards, then yeah, I want this shit to collapse as soon as possible. I see no saving it. The best you could do is give these arguments about how life sucks and it truly should not be perpetuated because we're not accomplishing anything. But the fact is that people do not want to hear the truth because it's uncomfortable. And it doesn't line with their delusions and their fantasy. So that's just how it is. And I mean, someday people will have to acknowledge the facts at some point because people cannot just keep running away from it, And it's very amazing to me that a lot of people just take this shit for granted. People can't show even simple respect to even the deceased, and especially the ones that had to suffer. I mean, what the hell is wrong with you, right? It's like you have no empathy. You can't even imagine what it might be like to be in that circumstance where you're forced to suffer because of your where you were born and all that stuff. I mean, again, like can you imagine like being a Jew where you tried to kill yourself and you failed, and your punishment was basically standing in one place for weeks on end, starving and being malnutritioned and all this stuff, right? This really happened, and even though that's a horrible fate to have to endure, the fact is modern humans don't care. They just don't care. If it's not happening to them, they're not going to give a fuck. And I saw it, with my own eyes. People just don't give a fuck. People trivialize it. They think, huh, it's worth it. I'm gonna bring a kid into this existence. I'm not the one with you know the genetic blights. I'm not the one who's crippled. I'm not the one who is born in a dysfunctional family. I'm not the one who's poor. I'm not the one who's ugly or short or all these things. I'm not the one who's lonely. I'm not the one who doesn't have a girlfriend. I'm not the one who's all these things. So they don't give a fuck. It's not happening to them. So why should they give a fuck, right? They're selfish human beings. And that's human nature for you. It's never gonna change. It doesn't matter how bad things has, whatever is in the past, whether it's in the present or even the future. It doesn't matter how bad it's gonna get or what has gotten. People are just gonna be ignorant about the truth. And it's pitiful. It's literally disgusting, pitiful, and a disgrace to intelligence. Because this is the one thing we're good at as human beings. We're good at solving problems. We're good at calculating, modeling reality, and it seems like people just are, you know, I don't know what's the right word for it. Just glib, um, just completely glib, and I don't know. Something needs to change. Like something, like people need a serious reality check because people really think that they're worth it. People think that um, what they're going to accomplish is going to be worth whatever has been paid, and it's just unbelievable, man. I really, what the fuck is wrong with people, man? Seriously, I don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense at all. How you go to these historic places and you see that people do not show any respect whatsoever, and it's heartbreaking. It really is because it's like you know some of the shit that I saw in the I mean it's a historic place. I would they definitely treated it like it was like a museum. They showed like um all these clothings that they had, the food that they had, and all this stuff. But um these kind of places should be more of like a shrine, like out of respect, and it just seems like I don't know, just it's pretty sad and depressing, honestly, that again, even modern humans will not acknowledge the fact that humanity isn't all that. It is a complete failure of a species, because again, unlike other animals, we do have intelligence, and we should be utilizing that. We shouldn't be wasting it, right? And that's what's going on here, though. People are just wasting it like it's nothing. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely an eye-opening experience. I definitely learned a lot being at this historic place, but I definitely think that they should definitely make it more harder to get into these kind of places, because a lot of people, take it for granted and they don't find any value in it. You know what I mean? And it's pitiful, it really is. But yeah, guys, that's all I wanted to say from my experience with this visit. Um, I've always wanted to visit this place specifically because I am like interested in some historical things here and there. So I definitely gained some value from it for sure. Not only how depressing and how much of a failure humanity was in the past, but also even to this day. Like, and I don't know what to say about it, honestly. Like, it's pitiful and definitely disgraceful, really. But I don't know. Maybe human beings will finally grow up. Maybe they won't. I don't know. But I think that's why you need to have these arguments. You need to have these discussions because it's serious. There's real stuff at stake here. It's not just about pleasure and bliss and ignorance. There's real things at stake here. So, and those conversations are very valuable, and it just seems like people don't want to have those conversations because they're not grown up. They're not um, intellectually open, and who knows when that's going to happen, where people, but the conversation is going to be needed at some point. This is the fact. So, all right, well, yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. Maybe make another video on another subject, but talk to you guys later.